Chaser, episode 25. I'm here with my special guest, Jasmine Mohit. She's a local artist from the Boston area who just recently released one of her own original songs featuring rapper Chris Billy. The song is called Don't Call Me Baby, and you can see it on YouTube. It just came out 2 days ago, right? Yeah, on Monday. We're going to show a little clip of the music video right now because, in fact, me and my co host Abby feature in it. Studs.
I know you want me, so come and find me. Your shit don't faze me. Don't call me baby. I see right through you, though I don't want to, but I don't want you. Tell me who fooled who. You won't deceive me. I'll drive you crazy. Just back up off me. Don't call me baby.
All right, and that's where we'll put the video. All right, so Jasmine, so we're going to talk to you a little bit today about kind of what got you into pursuing music, like your influences and maybe any like your background sort of in music and kind of what inspires you. So first of all, like what got you into music? How did you start getting into recording and producing your own music?
I have always wanted to get into music since I was like little. Like I guess like I was a little girl thinking I'm gonna grow up and be a pop star. And then like that's not what happened when I got older. Like when I got to middle school and high school, I just like fell into like kind of like the sports crowd, the party crowd, I guess. So not really focused on any specific goal. And it kind of took me away from like my passions that I've always had since I was little. So I got back into like actually performing and like getting into music my junior year of high school when I started back up with doing theater because I'd done theater and like I'd been a part of like chorus in elementary school, but then I stopped once I got to like middle high school until junior year. So I got back into it and I was like low-key thinking like if I graduate high school I kind of want to go into music business and just to have like music under my belt, but I had still not thought like maybe I'll actually put out music on my own. Like I'd always wanted to, but then I was like I don't know, like I was kind of nervous. And then I ultimately didn't end up doing music business. I ended up going to Suffolk and pursuing like on the path to law, I guess. Like I went into sociology, so I was like I don't know if it's realistic for me to do music, and Boston is like still like a city with opportunities, so I was like I'm gonna go and like see how I like it there. Like you never know, like I could minor in like theater, or like there's an arts administration is a minor at Suffolk too, and that's close enough to music business, and like Boston's close enough to home, so I was like Suffolk it is. So I went to Suffolk, and then I just tried to get involved with everything and just try to like become friends with people freshman year. And I had met another local rapper who's a Suffolk native, not anymore, but Eshawn. He goes by Eshawn the rapper. His name is Oba. And he was like actually pursuing music and putting it out, and like it was like really cool. And honestly, like he was like the person who I like kind of like looked up to. I was like, whoa, like he can do this. He's doing it all on his own. He's telling me it's not that hard. It's pretty easy. Like, why don't I just get into it? And then my mindset was still kind of different when I had met him in freshman year. I was kind of just getting used to college. I wasn't really thinking of like putting a lot on my plate with like music and stuff like that. And then so freshman year goes by and like Corona had hit through the end of it. And when I was just stuck at home, I was like, maybe I'll just like start like producing. Like, yeah, I could produce from my laptop, so I can start making music from my laptop and I was just looking up videos and like all quarantine, just kind of sitting there and trying to make beats. And then I ultimately realized it was way too hard and it's a lot more work to actually make a song that's like that you like and like you could sing over, and it's producing is hard. So I give creds to producers out there.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was like, you know what? I could just find a beat, and then the summer hit, and I was like, I'm gonna put out music. I'm gonna put out music. I was telling everybody, I'm like, wait, all these people, like, Oba's putting out music. Ishan, the rapper, is putting out music. I could maybe pursue music if I actually think about it. Then the summer hit, and like, summertime, you're just trying to have fun. Like, I still wasn't in the mindset. And
Yeah.
then I actually commuted freshman year of my college experience. And then I am a sophomore now. And for first semester of sophomore year, I had decided I'm going to actually live in Boston and like just see what it's like away from home. And like that's what changed everything. Like I lived in Boston, and then I gravitated towards people who were like into music and at school, and but they weren't like pursuing music. They were just like into singing and just singing in general, and it just made me kind of like want to like sing more. So I was just singing with them, and then I was like, maybe like they were putting out just like random covers on their Snapchat stories and like Instagram stories, and I was like, I mean, I've always wanted to just like put a cover out there just so people knew like I could sing or like I like to sing. So my friends pushed me to put out some covers. So I put out a few covers. I got good feedback. People were like, you're actually a good singer. So once I started getting that validation in the first couple months of school, um, on my first semester, I was like, maybe I could actually do this. Like it's been my dream. Why not? And then another Suffolk student had introduced me to two kids who don't go to Suffolk, but she had went to high school with them, and they had heard one of my covers and were like, we really like her sound, like she should like get on a song with one of us or like be a part of our group, because they had started forming a group like of just rappers. They didn't have a female voice. So I was like, why not like go and talk to them, see what's up. So I travel through the commuter rail and I go and meet them, and they like had this whole home studio set up, and they were like showing me all these beats because they both rap, but one of them actually produces for the both of them. They're both my age. They're both 19, about to be 20. I mean, I am 20, but they're about to be 20. I don't know. We're the
Yeah.
same age, same grade.
Close
And
enough.
Oh, yeah.
and then they showed me this beat that was one of the first ones that he had ever sat down and made. His name is Brady Dillis, and then the other kid, his name is AK. I don't know his last name, honestly, but
47 perhaps.
he goes by
That's funny.
he goes by Girk, and
Wait, was that just real quick? Was that the beat that would become own worst, or no? What's it called? My worst enemy.
losing my mind, Alex.
Losing my mind. All right, that's
Yes,
whatever. That's
my
the
first
chorus.
song ever.
Close enough.
That ended up being my.
I was thinking of that song, My Own Worst Enemy, from like the 2000s. Sorry.
But he had shown me this beat that was one of the first ones he'd ever made, and I was like, "This is amazing. Why am I already like singing over it? Why am I already like flowing out lyrics?" And he was like, "You can have it. Like neither me or AK can rap over this. Like it's just not. We can't think of one thing." And I'm like, "If you really will give this to me, like I could write a song. Like no problem." So he sent it to me, and I spent the last like 3 months, just because like school got in the way and just like life got in the way. Like it took me actually 3 months to fully finish the song, record it, get it ready to drop. And I originally wanted him to mix and master it, just because I felt like it was like, because it was like his baby. It was like honestly one of the first beats he's ever made, like fully and finished and everything. So I wanted him to record me and like mix and master and everything, but he was already busy himself, and like He wasn't like he was just starting to be a producer. He didn't really know how to like mix and master my vocals. So I decided to take the beat because he allowed me to take the beat and record it at an actual studio. So I went to a local one near me. It's in Lawrence, Mass. It's called Red 13, and I recorded with one of their engineers. His name is Scott Stangle. Um, I took it to him. He loved the beat, and he was like, "This is like right up my alley. Like I could mix and master this for you." And it became my first song. So that's kind of how I got into music. That's like a lot, but
Yeah.
it was like multiple. It was like really just like people inspiring me. Like if they can do it, why can't I? So that's kind of like I just had a
No,
lot
I
of
definitely I
me.
like that story a lot because it's clearly something that you've been like passionate about for a while, but it took you like a bit to just kind of find like your voice and like your kind of like your ambition, like your whole kind of idea for your artistic output. And shout out Ishan the rapper, by the way. He's one of our OG guests on here. But
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so with the new song and music video, what inspired the like song lyrically and musically, and what inspired the music video like for its theme and production?
So this is funny. I so losing my mind. My first song was produced, done, it was out, and I asked my producer for more beats, but he didn't have anything that was up my alley that I liked, and I was like, I don't know any other producers. Like I'm just starting out, and everybody who produces these days are really just making trap beats. Like no one's really making songs that a female can sing over. And I'd always like thought like I just because drill is so big these days, I was like, I bet I could sing over a drill beat and make a banger. Like, I bet I could do it. And since nobody was, I actually asked like 5+ producers locally, like that I found on Instagram and that people just recommended me to. Hey, do you have any drill beats? Like any drill beats I could sing over? Some had a few, but they weren't like really like hitting how I wanted them to. So I was like, what's the next best place to look for beats other than BeatStars? So BeatStars is an app, and I got it on my phone, and it has like thousands of beats. And I was just sitting and going through them, and you can search like Lady
The
Gaga
genre?
or like yeah, or like drill or
Oh,
any.
that's cool.
So I just decided like I don't know what came over me. I was like, I'm just gonna see like what drill beats are here, just like so I can keep it in the vault, like in case I ever want to like make a song over one. And I was going through them, just like clicking next, 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 and then all of a sudden, one played, and it was the beat that is from my last song, "Don't Call Me Baby," and I was like, "This is fire! Like this goes wicked hard." And I was, I
Would you
was
say
actually,
it rips?
yeah, I would say it rips, Alex. Honestly, yeah,
All right.
the beat
That's,
rips, and
that's
it really
dope.
hits you in the heart, if you know what I mean. Like
Yeah, it hits you right in the
Yeah,
feels.
it
it really,
rips right through. Yeah.
Yeah,
it really does. And I was listening to it in the car because sometimes I just listen to beats in the car just because the
yeah.
it's just loud and it takes over
Sounds
my
yeah, it's
ears.
big and loud and fucking
Yeah,
cool
so
though.
it just helps me like really listen to like just like to figure out which beats I like. And
Yeah.
right when it started playing in the car, I was like humming a melody to it, and I was like, this could work. And then just started spewing out lyrics, and I was like, don't call me baby. It's like, why do I like this? Why can I make this like a kind of like a bad bitch vibe? I,
Yeah.
I kind of want a song like the females could sing to. Like, you
Yeah.
know, drill music is so hard and so like
And
guns,
it's
guns,
yeah.
guns, like kill, kill, kill. Like, I don't know. Like, no female could really get, like, I guess females can get down to that, but like, you can't like I don't know,
Yeah.
girls can't really be like feminine about
Yeah.
that. Like drill,
Yeah,
it's
they
like
did,
more
they don't usually have as many guns as dudes do.
exactly.
I
And
have I or
that's
oh you
kind
can
of just
continue.
oh, I'm sorry. No, you can keep going.
Oh, I was gonna say, so in addition, you release music videos as well. So what goes into the production? Because they're very, like, to me, they're very high energy productions where like the video quality is really high, and then like the sets look amazing as well. So like, how do you go about making one of those, and who's involved
Yeah.
essentially?
They are well made.
So thank you guys. The first I wasn't even gonna ever make a music video. I was like, I don't even want to know how much it costs. I don't know if I can do it. I don't even know where to begin. And when I had gotten my first song ready at the studio, um, my engineer was like, we offer a lot of services at the studio. Like, we can do artist development, and we can just help you, like, with promotions and, like, really anything. Like, I'll just refer you to our manager, which is, like, one of the guys that owns the entire, like, studio. And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, I should probably start, like, making this a career, like, actually start learning, like, how to do this stuff. And I'd reached out to the manager of Red 13 Studios, and I was like, hey, like, I could use help. Like, I'm proud of this first song. If you want to listen to it, let me know. If you want to help me out, like, just what I should do, like, with promo, just, like, anything. Like, I didn't even know where to start. I was just going to put it on my Instagram and my Snap story and call it a day. And then he was like, he listened to it, and he was like, oh, this is really good. Like, you got a great voice. You got a really good song. I'll give you some pointers, just how to go about promo and stuff. And he just told me, like, how to get ready for everything. He helps me make, like, a few banners, which are, like, the banners on my Twitter and on my Facebook, just saying, like, losing my mind, out now, and stuff like that, just how to go about promo. And then he was like, if you want to be taken seriously, you have to have music videos, because people want to look you up. Like, as much as the song, like, is great, people love a visual with it as well. And he was like, you know what, I like the song so much, like, I can give you a deal on the music video. I can give you the lowest price possible, because I was like, I'm not rich, I have no money. I can give as much as I can, but, like, a music video would be great. Like, and he was like, yeah, I can give you this price. If you want, we can shoot it right here at the studio. I have high quality cameras. I have lighting guys. We'll meet you on the day of the set. Like, we'll make sure it's high quality. It's perfect. Do you want to do it? And I was like, honestly, fuck it. Why not? I mean, I'm used to performing because I'm a theater kid. So I'm like, how much harder can it be in front of a camera? So my first music video and the second one were actually both filmed at Red 13 Studios in Framingham, their Framingham location. So that's, like, all the props and set is there. The camera guy and the lighting guy, though, that is Red 13's people for my first video. We didn't really have all that help for the second video because I hired a director separately from Red 13. We just rented the space, just because the space is, like, perfect, and I can't think of anywhere else, and it's not that much money to rent the space for videos. So
it's a pretty cool place too. Like, I was actually surprised because it looks just like a fucking, like, old ass building from the outside. When you go inside, you're like, shit.
It's like modern.
I know.
Yeah.
They, like, really. It's a secret.
It's pretty sleek.
And they offer, like, awesome lighting and, like, props, and they have, like, really high quality microphones there too.
Yeah.
They have good stuff. Like, they just kind of offer, like, everything.
Yeah.
So he helped me. Their manager helped me at first. So once he, like, gave me the rundown of a music video, once I was actually a part of my first one and just saw what goes into it, I kind of just, like, know exactly, like, what I need for music videos from now on. Like, if anyone wants to be, like, if I need people in them, I'll just literally ask everybody. And whoever wants to be in it and commits to it can just be in it. And I'll just tell you what to wear, what to get. And then I just need a director, basically, just maybe 2 or 3 lights. And, like, Red 13 space. And honestly, like, you just make a music video. But,
Yeah.
It's
And the director was Caesar, right?
Yeah, my director for my second song was Caesar. Shout out
to Caesar. Another guest on our show.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oba
Yeah.
and Caesar have been on the show.
That's what I'm saying. And now Jasmine.
I think Oba was episode 8. For anyone watching, go check that out. He talked about some cool stuff. And then I forget what episode Caesar was. I think it was 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've both been on.
Yeah.
That's awesome, though.
But
So Jasmine.
I had a question too. So,
yeah, you go first.
Yeah, Jasmine. So one thing that's, like, big with music is tons of people get involved, right? Like, it takes involvement from a lot of different people. Uh, do you feel like when you bring people on that like you kind of lose the vision you originally had going into like the production of your videos and music, or do you find that like people are like pretty easy to work with and tend to bend towards what you kind of envision?
Do you mean like the people behind the scenes or the people in my video?
More behind the scenes, like the people that help you make it. Like, do you feel like you have to change stuff around for them, or it's more like a music industry kind of question, like when for
Okay.
someone starting out
And sorry, do you mean like when I make a song or when I make a video?
a video.
Okay.
Well, a bit of
Um,
both, but yeah,
Yeah, I think both would be a good answer.
yeah.
Like,
when
So it's like you have an idea for a song and then you envision the video. Do you feel that like with other people's involvement, do you have to kind of manage expectations? Do you feel like they want to change what you're doing, or you haven't really gotten that vibe?
so when it comes to me making songs so far, I only have two out, but like I have had like a lot of people like around and involved in the process, both of them.
Yeah,
The first song I had little like no, I really just didn't talk to anybody about it. Um some of my friends heard some rough takes, but they had nothing to say about them really. My engineer didn't try to change anything. He actually just he asked
huh?
me if I ever wanted to add some stuff. um, I found trouble a lot with having a feature on my second song. So this was like the first time I'd ever like considered working with somebody else and making a song with them. And I found that making the song was a little more of a struggle because when you're an artist, you don't want somebody else to tell you like what to do, I
Yeah,
guess. Like think you're good. So like when you get on the song, you're good, it's good. But like you have like if somebody's offering you a song and you want them to get on it, you like want them to at least fit this your style in a way, or like how
yeah.
you want the song to be executed. They have to reciprocate that. They have to do that. Like um
So you kind of got to find that like middle, like that even that balance where like
yeah.
both of you feel like you have your input on it.
So that we kind of butt heads a little, but I let him kind of take control because I was like, you know what? I'm asking him to get on it. He's a rapper. I'm not a rapper. Like, he can go ahead and do what he wants. And like, he ended up um actually like listening to me. I guess at the end, he really like went the route that I wanted him to. So at the end of the day, like, I'm not mad about anything. Like, I think
Yeah,
that the verse is great. Like, his verse is good. My verse, I think it works. I think the song overall makes sense. Originally, I had a different idea for the song, but he kind of like freestyled his own thing, and like it worked. Cause I could always remix the song how I first envisioned it, which was like the song is called "Don't Call Me Baby." So like I'm the female saying "Don't call me baby," like leave me alone, blah blah blah. And I wanted a male feature to be like "Don't call me daddy." Like it's kind of
yeah,
like a like two different perspectives. I kind of
yeah,
like I thought that was really cool and like unique, but
yeah,
like he thought it was good too, but it wasn't like what he was freestyling. It just didn't work. And like I like the song, it's fine. Like I could always remix it different some other day, but that's kind of what happened. We kind of butt heads a little, but it's like I'm not mad about anything at the end of the day. So making the songs haven't been as hard as making the music videos. So this is where it's a little different because when you're hiring directors, they want to direct. They have a vision. And
yeah,
like they'll listen to you, which is this is from my first music video and Caesar. Caesar, like he both of them, both my directors were like, "Okay, I get your vision. Love it, love it." And then we get there on the day to direct and they're like, "Oh yeah, but what about this? Oh no, 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 you should do this. Oh, but I thought you meant this and then oh, I thought we were going to edit this differently and do this." And like I mean, I understand like directing is a whole thing on its own, and like I should respect the director, which I do. I respected both of my directors, but they kind of changed a little bit of my visions throughout the videos that I let it happen because I was like, okay, it'll still look good. But like my first video was basically exactly what I wanted, a little different. The editing, I wish I was a part of the editing process, but like once you pay, you kind of like, I guess, I mean, I
Forgo
feel like,
that.
You like
yeah, I
hand
should
over
not,
them the rights to edit and stuff.
exactly. So I kind of wish I was a part of the editing process on my first video, but it's okay now. It's whatever. It's still a good video. It's still what I wanted. It's just the editing could have been a little more of what I wanted, but it's whatever. And the second video, I actually like I like my second video more than my first, mainly because of Caesar's editing. I think Caesar edited it like great. The one thing that I just didn't like is that he didn't include a lot of scenes that I wish he did. Like I wanted way more action in the robbing. Like I really wanted the robbing to be like a really good chunk of the song of the music video, and I really wanted like all of my actors to be showcased in a way because like I only asked so many and like they're like you guys are like my best friends, like the girls' best friends. Like I wanted you guys showcased a bit more. Um and like I just wanted more of the robbing scene to be like much more of the video. But honestly,
Yeah.
the video was great at the end of the day. I think he captured all of you as much as he could and edited it as best as he could. And I do love it. I think I personally like Don't Call Me Babies music video. I'm losing my mind, but
Yeah. I mean, I think it came out
Yeah.
great. You
Now
know,
me too,
like
because I
we were
no
extras
yeah
for a
go.
reason, right? Like we're not like a main part of the video. So I think like that's like yours and his prerogative to do that, and like I'm totally fine with it. I think
My
it came
favorite
out
part of that
great.
video is when Alex puts his hands up like
Yeah, Alex gets up.
that's a good scene.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
great scene.
Awesome.
Yeah, like it's funny because like I mean I don't have a lot of experience in acting, but he was just like pretend like the reaction you would get when you get robbed, and I was just like, all right, I'd be fucking pissed. So I like get up all angry, and then he points the gun at me, and I'm just like, oh fuck, like it's over.
Yeah.
He's
Dude,
good.
And
George
it's
looked
funny.
Oh.
George looked like he was ready to throw hands when he put his hands up.
Bro, he almost looked a little too happy. I'm not gonna lie. Like I was just like, bro, like, because we were laughing so much during the shoot. We were just like, we
Yeah.
had to do like several
There were a
takes,
couple
and I was
retakes
just like,
because
bro,
like
don't laugh.
different people would like crack smiles. Like I
Yeah,
know
people
I
were
did
like
like once or
smiling.
Oh,
twice.
you
Yeah.
guys were
Same.
like,
And Jasmine's like, guys, you would not be smiling if you're getting robbed. She was
no,
like
you
pissed
guys were
about it.
like having like a field day with it.
I was smiling because I saw the way you guys were handling what were supposed to be real guns. I thought that was funny.
Oh.
You were not practicing proper gun safety. But then again, you're robbing people, so I guess that's fair.
Yeah, they don't give a fuck, bro. It's the last time you saw a robber care.
Yeah.
So yeah, one more thing I want to ask you actually, Jasmine, is where do you see yourself in the future going artistically and also stylistically with future music that you're planning on releasing and also with music videos and just like your career in general?
Well, when I was little, the first music that I fell in love with was like emo music. It was like
Fuck yeah.
rock, pop rock, like Paramore,
Yeah.
loved her. Like Evanescence, Amy Lee, like loved her. Like the main like alternative queens, like that was like the
Yeah.
first music I discovered when I was like literally like 8. Honestly, like when I was just looking around on YouTube, I was like, I love this sound. It's so like grungy and so cool, like, and I've just loved like that kind of music like all my life. And I've always thought like if I'm gonna make music, it's gonna be like alternative. It's gonna. And then I ultimately haven't done that yet. Losing my mind, some people are like, oh, this is a little like kind of like alternative-y, like a little, and I'm like, yeah, like it's good. I mean, it kind of is, but it's not really, but it kind of
Yeah.
is. Don't Call Me Baby is nothing like alternative, but
Yeah.
I kind of
Yeah.
just put it out for fun. It's fun. It kind of
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
like I'm a versatile artist.
Plus
Uh,
Christmas on it
Alex,
too.
your
It's like
mic.
a little bit.
Your mic.
I was gonna say Christmas on it too. So you got all.
There you
Christmas,
go.
you got it. A little bit.
There we go.
Is there too.
I
So
think that I am a versatile artist, but in the future, I am definitely going to put out alternative music because that's like I've wanted to. I think that is my sound. Actually, these last two songs that I put out, I've had multiple people tell me that it sounds like Evanescence, like I sound like Amy Lee. Like somebody, like at least, I'm not even kidding, maybe like 10 plus people have told me, like, Don't Call Me Baby sounds like Evanescence on a drill beat. Or like your voice just sounds like Amy Lee. I guess I have that like more softer, like higher pitched voice like her.
yeah, well, I've heard like your covers. I've heard when you were like covering and like singing Evanescence songs before, and I can see it personally. I think that like the alternative, like kind of indie rock style or like even a little emo style would actually suit your voice well.
Yeah, that's thank you so much. I take that as a really big compliment. I love that people think that. It's like amazing. Like I would love to be Amy Lee and sound like her, but I just haven't put out any alternative music and I'm mad at myself, but I have stuff written, ready to go. So the world will see my alternative side cuz I've actually had a lot of people tell me like your voice is great, but like why'd you choose this beat? Like your voice is great, but like I don't think it works on this song. And like I love criticism, so I don't get mad at people, but like they're not wrong. Like I guess I haven't found like I think I know my style. I just haven't put it out. So people,
Yeah.
I feel like people don't think I have. But once I actually put out the music that I've been wanting to and like showing the world like this is actually like what I want to do, I think people will start to understand like, oh, okay, so she belongs on this song. Like this sounds like Jasmine. Like I want them when they think of me, I want like people to know like, oh yeah, she makes like this alternative stuff. But like I am a versatile artist. Like I'm definitely gonna be putting out probably like a pop song soon or like God knows what. But I just love like if I hear a beat that I like and I can think of music like, lyrics over it and I like think like oh this could be a hit, like I'm just gonna do it and put it out.
Yeah.
Which I kind of should stop doing that and put out like what's actually like me. But I will soon. So I think I'm gonna go the alternative route.
It's
Yeah, I
probably
mean,
it's probably a bit harder to find people producing like alternative style music, right? Because I feel like with trap beats, it's mainly computer, whereas when alternative is brought in, you need people with actual instrumental skills.
Yeah, yeah. So you're exactly me. It's so hard.
Yeah.
And I looked on YouTube and like you can't trust YouTube beats because you don't know if you're getting the exclusive rights.
If they're
So
licensed, yeah.
yeah, in the case that I get a YouTube beat, the song blows up, I could get sued or like I could just never make money off of it. And like BeatStars only has so many alternative beats like but that's just like no, I know. See, that's the hard thing. And then
yeah,
it
it's more
costs
of
so
like
much money to sit down with a producer and make a song with them, make a beat from scratch. It actually costs more than regular studio time. So,
Wow.
and I'm still not rich, so it's very hard for me to actually put out my sound right now, which
Yeah.
sucks. Like I'm trying, like I'm making it work.
yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing like the more alternative side. I mean, I definitely think, yeah, it's definitely possible. It's just, it's more like that kind of music. It's more like raw, sort of. Like you kind of just got to take it like piece by piece. You need people to like kind of like you need more people to contribute to it because you need people like playing different instruments and mixing it. And like, but I do like that you're versatile because especially as like a new artist, it's good to be able to work with a lot of different kinds of other artists and other genres because
Yeah.
it really shows that you have like variety and dynamic, which is pretty cool.
Hmm.
So. All right, well, I guess that includes our interview, or it concludes our interview rather. Speaking of something that is not so cool, I guess depending on who you ask, Texas just opened up entirely. Um, they've lifted all their COVID restrictions according to Governor Greg Abbott. and he got rid of the mask mandate too. So he's just like, fuck it, we're going 100% back to normal. And so of course, this has been met with like a decent amount of applause. So I saw like I first saw it on Instagram on Old Row actually. They were just kind of like joking, but a lot of people were just like, "Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I'm moving to Texas. Like Texas is the place to be." But then I see people here like on NPR, Newsweek, NBC. They're like, "Yeah, he's like a dumbass." Like they literally called it a Neanderthal thinking
All right,
here.
wait, before you continue, let me just tell every listener, I'm going to mention this later. Texas is not the place to be. We're going to mention the place to be at the end of the
Well,
episode.
yeah, wait,
Yeah.
hang on a sec. Wait. You know what the place to be is? If there's 3 inches of snow, your entire power grid is shut down for 3 weeks. That sounds like somewhere I want to live. Yeah.
They were saying that it
Well,
could cause the death of like another 500,000, which I actually think that's a little extreme of an estimate. But
Yeah, no,
probably.
because
sounds
people are
about right.
getting vaccinated. But I just want
Yeah.
to hear your guys' thoughts on like COVID, the situation in general, kind of like what you think about places like Texas and Florida who opened up sooner, and like what you think like we should do going forward as a society. So, what do you guys think?
So first of all, Texas, do they not have state taxes or do they have low state taxes? So in that case, I mean, like citizens get what they pay for. So like when you saw the power grid shut down and the infrastructure failed, like at the end of the day, if those weren't federally financed, like consumers can't really complain about a system that they don't pay anything towards to make better. So I mean, like in the case of power outages and deaths because of that, like the only people I feel really bad for are like senior citizens, because like a lot of the times their immune systems can't handle the cold, and like if they're out exposed to like extreme weather for long periods of time, a lot of them are gonna die. So like I think like backup generators and having like emergency facilities in like schools and stuff like that matters. As far as like opening up already, not enough of the population is vaccinated yet. So I feel like full blown like reinstallment of businesses that aren't essential is kind of overblowing it. But I mean, there should be some scale or metric that we go by to slowly open up the economy. Texas seems like it's very eager to get its economy back to 100%. I think it's kind of short sighted because you're still risking mass infection with people moving around. And I'm sure people are going to be lured into going to Texas
Oh yeah.
because like things are starting to open up. But that could be even worse too because you could be bringing more infected cases into the state. So I mean, it's kind of a double-edged sword in a way. But I mean, I feel bad for older people in Texas, but the people who are choosing to move there, like I don't know how bad I feel for them in the end. That's like
uh,
my take on Texas.
I'd have to say it seems like the government's just kind of like copping out, like taking the easy way out. Like we're in the last couple months, like in by like June or August, most of the American population is going to be vaccinated. That's not that long of a time to wait. Like even here in New England, where like I wouldn't say like where it's some states have like some of the strictest regulations in the country, and it's like it's not even that bad. Like we still go out to bars, like we still hang out with friends, like and like we haven't gotten it. We still wear masks. Like it's not that bad. Like I don't. It's not like we're living in a prison or like we're under like martial law. So I really
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
see why 2 months of wearing a mask is such a huge deal.
I don't think there should be mandates for most of this stuff, but at the same
Yeah.
time, like I do think that like there should be at least a common courtesy to like
It's just
try and
human
implement.
decency, I
Yeah,
think.
it should be like your ideal model of what you should be doing is like wearing a mask, like taking vitamins. They should be like way more publicized to
Yeah.
like try
Yeah.
and keep your immune health up. And even like especially in places like Texas that are trying to roll out like full reinstatement of businesses in the industry. So like if you're gonna do that, you should be trying to give people guidelines to follow in order to make that safer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and kind of like what Dan said on last week's episode, people should like businesses, people should be focusing on like getting people to be able to stay and live healthy lifestyles, like being able to work out, eat properly, and then you just go out and wear a mask until people are vaccinated. Like
Yeah.
I just think like the government is just focused on the dumbest shit. Like they're focused on opening restaurants and stuff. Like not that I don't think restaurant owners deserve like that livelihood, but like that's where your cases are happening. They're not happening at like gyms, and they're not happening at like they're not really happening at schools either that often, honestly. And I think like I just think Texas is like I just think it's kind of a weak move because it shows like we all want to open up. Like these people are like, oh, they're denying our freedom by wearing masks and shit.
There's
But
only
hang on, the people who are not wearing a mask are denying my freedom to go out and fuck around and have fun. Because I want to be able to like what Bird said. Like yeah, we still go to bars, we still go to restaurants, and I get it. Like there's some things I guess like parties and like clubs that don't really happen. But I just want to be able to I just want to get to the point where I don't have to worry as much about who I see when I see. And I think all that requires is a little bit of patience. So I just think this is kind of a weak move on Texas's government.
yeah,
But I'm not surprised because they couldn't even fucking handle their own infrastructure.
I
So.
mean, to me though, there's really only like a few sectors that are really essential that need to be opened right now. The part I have with the government's response is closing down gyms actually makes your population less healthy and less able to fight off infectious diseases in the long term. The more immune health you have, especially in your younger years, the more likely you are to fight off a foreign disease, essentially. So like the main sectors that should be protected are like gyms, pharmacies, hospitals, infrastructure, and manufacturing. And I guess you could argue education as well. But beyond that, and supermarkets. But like restaurants aren't really that essential, at least in my estimate. Like, oh, you can't go out and have a burger or like a drink with your friends. Oh, fucking cry me a river. We're kind of fighting bigger issues.
Yeah.
But like if the government had a proper response, those would be the sectors that are kind of protected when you shut down a lot of the other non-essential things.
I feel like it's just a common sense thing. Like Greg Abbott is being a dumbass. Like I want to be able to go out and not wear a mask too, but like I also want to be able to see who I want and not worry about getting sick. Like it's a pretty common sense issue. Like at that point, it's like I said, there's not many freedoms that are really being restricted by not wearing a mask. And like I said, by them not wearing it, it's just fucking it over for us longer because you're not necessarily going to see increase in cases, but like it's likely.
Like we're not commie liberals for not wanting to spread disease. Like that's I don't know how else to put it.
No, it's like a very common. It's a common decency type of.
It's just like common
approach.
Sense.
Yeah, like
the
just
one
don't
thing I will
spread
say,
disease. It's
the one thing I will say though is like I did research on like the Super Bowl and like the amount of cases that came from all the people partying in Florida, like on the yachts and in the streets. So I thought there'd be like a shit ton of cases, and they actually didn't find like many new cases from that. And I think that's partially just because of vaccines though. So like, cause I think just because like the rate has gotten lower because of vaccines and just like overall people like going out less because they found like no new spike from Super Bowl parties. So.
I actually think a lot of that probably has to do with societal shifts because a lot of people have been inside so much recently. You don't come in contact with a lot of other people, especially like in the case like most people are wearing masks. So the like rate of the disease is gonna decline because of the changes that the overall society has made to fight it.
In addition, I feel like people are way more conscious about like washing their hands and like touching door handles, like using sleeves instead or pushing and with like the shoulder or something.
Business and education has been shifted to online, so a lot of it's done over Zoom now. So like, there's no need to really go anywhere. So it's like
that's why, So then when they do run out there for the Super Bowl, it's like people have been inside, so like it's not that it didn't cause a big spike.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jasmine, what do you think about opening up, getting rid of COVID restrictions? Do you think Texas is doing the right thing, or do you think they're stupid?
I don't think they're doing the right thing. I think that you're right. I think everybody should just get vaccinated and then we'll send everybody out into the world. Just so everybody like has a good conscience and they're like, no, like we're good. Like we have the vaccine, like we should be good. And also I think like a good experiment. Like if everybody gets vaccinated, then we send everybody out. I feel like researchers can like get a really good
What do you think the biggest issue is though right now with the lockdown? Like, what do you think the biggest problem? Like, do you think there's too many restrictions or too little? Like
Um,
where we live in New England.
well, I was gonna say that, well, Charlie Baker's lifted a lot recently. I feel like with the alcohol restriction and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a good thing.
The curfew
I,
was lifted too.
The other point is
Also good.
like restrictions are gonna get heavier during winter months and then get lifted as the warmer temperatures come around because the virus spreads typically when lower temperatures are common. So like obviously like the warmer it gets, the more restrictions are gonna get lifted, I think.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
true.
in addition, like now we're talking vaccination, so it's all like a numbers game of how much of the American population is vaccinated
I
and
think
kind of determines what moves you can make.
those statistics about cold weather are giving some people the wrong idea. I think because people have this they have this thought now that the virus spreads through cold weather. No, that's not what
Yeah.
it is. It's that
Yeah.
in cold weather, more people herd inside. So
Yeah.
and less people open windows. There's less circulation. That's why it spreads in the
Yeah.
cold.
That's very true.
Yeah, and they think summer will like kill it, but actually you saw another spike last like August, I think, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
people were just fucking around too much.
I think by the end of the summer we'll be in the clear.
Yeah, I'm hoping on that. I'm crossing my fingers on that because like
Hopefully.
I believe now more people are like I think I said this in another episode. More people have the vaccine than currently have COVID, so it's a good sign.
The weird part is like 5 years from now, when we look back on this time period, what are we gonna think? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, to 2020 to 2021 or 2022 was a weird fucking time.
It was so weird. Like, nah, dude, at first, like, I was like, this is so fucked. Like, at first, I was like, this is just so, weird. Like, this doesn't feel real. But as I got more used to it, I was like, all right, I'm just, like, carrying on with my life and, like, just doing regular things. And,
You know where I
like,
think we
COVID
were
really isn't that
failed?
bad.
Where we were failed is like you guys remember in January of last year before like it was really known that this was going to be a huge issue and we were like, "Oh, it's so far away. It's like on the other side of the world. This is
Yeah.
never going to affect us."
Yeah.
Politicians did nothing to like try and protect America. It didn't really stop that many flights. Didn't really do
No.
anything to like try and like boost our immunity or like take any statistics on vitamins or ways to improve our health. Instead, they acted like everything was fine and there was no need to panic. And then America ended up becoming like the #1 infected nation in a few months.
I couldn't figure
Yeah.
out why in February at the G7 summit the Federal Reserve lowered interest rates down to like 1 or 2% for the first time in so long. I was like, what? Like why? I was like, that's
They
really
knew what was
cool.
coming.
Yeah, but that's what it was. They knew a plague was coming. They literally
fucking
knew.
knew. Also, the politicians that pulled all their investments out of the stock market right before the huge crash in March. Oh, they didn't know what was going on. There was no insider trading there or anything.
People spend
Yeah.
millions of dollars on winning races where their constitutional salary is like 100K.
Yeah, that's facts.
I
Yeah,
wonder
I don't know.
why.
It's an interesting topic. But I'm really curious what we'll think in 5 years because like you already know this is going to be one of those time periods where you're going to feel like robbed to some degree. You're going to be like, I remember when life was put on pause and it was like,
Yeah. Everything turned to shit for like a year. Or not like like a year about maybe
I
a year
remember
and a
when
half.
people thought society was gonna like downfall, like gun purchases went through the roof, and they were like, "This is gonna be the end of days." I'm
You
like,
couldn't
dude,
buy
no.
you couldn't buy like fucking toilet paper, dude.
Bro, that
Like-
just out of all things, like what? Bro, that just shows you like how people like across this country just like are so used to living like normal, like pampered lives.
Yeah.
Like they're just like when this happens, it like turned them fucking upside down. It's just crazy because like people have had to deal with so like that's what I was thinking of. I was just like not just forget just other people in like underdeveloped countries, but even like my like ancestors had to deal with shittier stuff like war, and like we just have to sit in the couch at home and not go out, and everyone's like freaking out about it.
Like some
It's kind of
of
a
the
funny
some of the
parallel.
people who live in poverty in America live like kings compared to some other countries. Like
Yeah,
they live amazing compared to like the middle class or upper middle class of other countries.
Yeah, that's true. The other like point is like it's kind of interesting to see the parallel because like in the 1930s there was like the run on the banks, but in 2020 we saw the run on the supermarkets
Yeah.
where you couldn't
Yeah.
get like bread, you couldn't get paper towels or toilet paper, you couldn't get like eggs,
Clorox
like
wipes and shit.
milk. It
Hand
was like hard to
sanitizer.
get those things. The
Yeah.
aisles were
Yeah.
just cleared out.
Bro, it's still hard to find Clorox wipes.
Yeah.
You
CEO of
remember when they were like,
Clorox is
you guys
happy.
remember when like companies were marking up prices? Like Walgreens was like selling Clorox wipes for like $15.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
taking advantage of the supply and
Yeah.
demand.
And the government's like, we're gonna close down gyms. Instead of like, maybe we should keep supplies costs low.
Yeah. Yeah, literally. Speaking of things that are suspicious, Abby, like, I want to talk a little bit more about your topic.
Yeah, so I mean this kinda goes in with like the rise of a major businessman, right? Or it's like a big rise and fall story. So I'll start at the beginning. So in 1995, Nissan was in big debt. Like, let me find the number right here, actually. All right, so Nissan uh, reported a negative $2.5 billion spending, or they what is it? They reported $2.5 billion loss in 1995 or 1994, right? So they slowly worked back up to where they were at before to about 2 billion. And in 1999, Renault does a huge cash injection to try and save the company. Renault is a French automobile maker, for those who don't know. Uh, so basically, this Japanese car company in Japan is like famous at this point for like making awesome cars and having great manufacturing. Nissan's in jeopardy. French company comes in and saves it. And the guy Renault sends over to run Nissan, and he eventually ends up becoming the chair of both together. His name is Carlos Ghosn, and in the 3 years after he came to Nissan in Japan, he became like a Japanese hero. Like in 2001, they told a story of his life in comic books, and later in 2011, in a nationwide poll of who Japan would like to run their country, he came in front of Barack Obama. He was the seventh man that the people would have liked to see. Uh,
Wow.
Damn.
yeah. In addition to that, he said he was there was a survey that found that most Japanese women want to marry him. Like he was the man that like most Japanese women want to marry. So essentially from what he did between 99 and 2017 for a failing automobile manufacturer is crazy. He basically cut costs down in the beginning and brought them to over $10 billion in revenue by like 2005. 2008, the automobile crash comes, so they take a huge dip, and within like 2 years, they're back up to about 5.8 billion in revenue yearly. Uh, as time went on, basically, Nissan started producing more and more vehicles. They started growing in profitability. And between 2011 and 2017, Ghosn averaged about like $10 billion as his salary. That's like, so basically between 2011 and 2018, this guy's salary alone was like over $50 million. And that's leaving out benefits, stock options, and investments. Uh, so in 2018, Ghosn was found guilty of financial misconduct. So essentially, what I think he was doing was he was using company funds for himself, like on leisure, for leisure purposes. Like, I'm sure there was some insider trading too, because they acquired Mitsubishi, another Japanese car company, in 2016. And And since then, he posted a billion yen bail, which is about, I think it's about 93 million in US. Because it's 106 yen is one US dollar. And in 2019, he was gonna stand trial. He prepared like a whole legal argument. He had a legal team he was like practicing with after posting bail. And then one night, he basically just vanishes off the face of the earth. He just disappears.
Jeez.
So essentially, what happened? Or no, this wasn't 2019. This was 2020. Yeah, it was 2020. So basically, or no, it was 2019. I'm wrong. It was 2019. So in December of 2019, Ghosn just disappears after he's about to face like one of the most public trials Japan's like ever seen in recent history. And then this past week, two American men from Massachusetts get convicted for helping smuggle him out of Japan into Lebanon. So his wife is from Lebanon, and the guy had 3 passports on him when they finally found him. Yeah. Japan actually invests quite a bit into Lebanon, I think. That's the way it seems from what I've read. So basically, Lebanon turned Ghosn back over to the Japanese authorities. But I just think it's a really crazy story. Like this guy who becomes a business tycoon, essentially just goes on a power trip, misallocates funds, and the Japanese government tries to take him down. And then somehow he connects with let me find what their names are. So Michael Taylor and Peter Taylor. Michael is an ex-Army Special Forces veteran. And after he left the Special Forces, he ran like a private security company where he specialized in like security and like getting people across borders, getting people where they want to be. So essentially this guy was like hired to do the thing he's been doing for like the last 10, 15 years. And now that Japan has found Ghosn, they're going to convict Michael and Peter. I don't know what their conviction is going to be. This just happened this past week. So yeah, I just think it's pretty insane story. It's like you can make a movie about this shit.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Hero turns villain.
Yeah.
Like all in one lifetime. I mean, it's terrible that he misallocated funds, but he also saved the company from the verge of bankruptcy. So it's like, I don't know what my take on him is. Like, I get that he had to flee Japan, and that's awful. But
well, he
like,
didn't necessarily have the amount of money he had. He probably had some great lawyers.
Yeah, true. He probably would have got off like not scot-free, but pretty close.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know why he fled, but it's an interesting story. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of Nissan, but like the fact that he could turn around a failing company is pretty amazing in my estimates. So like, I don't know how bad I feel for him because he misallocated funds from the company for personal use. So I mean, he's still a scumbag, but I mean, what percentage of scumbag hero he is I guess up for debate.
Yeah, one big thing that's kind of coming out of all this is like he's accused the Japanese authorities and justice system of being like very like harsh and he's saying basically like he doesn't have much of a voice when it comes to the justice system in Japan. Like they're very like they isolate him and they make it very hard for him to live his life. That's his argument.
Well, wait, he's a French national though, right?
He is a French national, yeah.
Okay.
But he's been in Japan for like the last 20 years.
Okay.
Isn't he French, Lebanese, and Brazilian though?
Yeah, he is. I think he might have been born in Lebanon, but I'm actually not positive on that. He might have been born in France.
Or Brazil.
But his wife is definitely Lebanese. I don't think he was born in Brazil. I'm pretty sure he wasn't.
Let me see. No, he was born in Brazil.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why his name is Carlos.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. That makes sense.
But it says he's French, Lebanese, and Brazilian.
Yeah.
I
Pretty
mean,
fun.
it is his fault though, because like he should have known the proper codes to operate a company in Japan by, and he didn't. He didn't follow regulations. So at the end of the day, like if the Japanese government's going to come after him, he should lawyer up, not flee. Because at the end of the day, I guarantee you, if their system operates in any similar way to ours, then he's going to get off close to scot-free because we have a thing for letting billionaires off. And I'm sure
we
Japan
do.
does too.
I wonder
I
if
mean, no one
Japan
goes to
does. I
jail.
don't know if they do.
I would wonder, but I mean, they're pretty capitalistic, so I would assume that he wouldn't go. At least he wouldn't go to prison for any substantial amount of time. So I don't know why he fled. I don't know what the charges he was facing were, but they must have been hefty.
Must have been
if he
bad.
left
I mean,
Japan.
he had $1 billion bail, bro. Like in Japan, that's probably a lot. I mean,
That's
even
probably
here,
a lot.
it's a lot. It's $93 million.
Maybe they just have a less corrupted system than us, because I wouldn't even be nervous if I was him in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So,
Wait.
I think we lost.
did Jasmine leave?
Yes. Either that or just disconnected.
We'll see. We'll just keep going.
Yeah. All right.
See if she comes back.
I really hope that so Japan is trying to get the Taylor family extradited, Michael and Peter. I really hope they don't extradite them. Like, come on, these guys, like, this guy was an ex-Green Beret and he ran a like multi-million-dollar company extracting people from different places and like rescuing like abducted people. Like, he doesn't deserve to be sent to a Japanese prison. Come on.
Yeah, I think that's ultimately up to the Japanese government, though.
No, it's up to the U.S. government because he's
Oh,
in the
wait.
U.S.
Oh,
They're
he's
trying
in the
to
U.S.
extradite him.
Extradite him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's ultimately up to the U.S. government, which is probably gonna side with Japan and send him back. If I wouldn't have gone to America if I was him, unless he already had confirmation from the government that they weren't gonna extradite him.
Should have gone to
I mean,
Russia or Germany where they don't
he's
have
probably in
extradition.
cahoots. Because if he is in America, I guarantee you he already pre-planned that move, and he thinks that America won't extradite him.
Probably.
But I would not have gone to America. I would have gone to a country that has terrible relations with Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, the U.S. has pretty favorable relations with Japan, so I don't understand that move from his perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if I was him, who knows? Russia sounds like a great place.
I think he'd find a lot more protection in America as an ex-Special Forces operative. Like, the guy was a Green Beret.
That's true. Although he, at that point, couldn't even gone back to France and then tried with the French government or the Brazilian government. Because
Maybe.
I don't know.
I think he
America
made the
seems
right
like not a
call.
great move. I don't know, dude.
I don't think America will let Japan take them. I really don't.
I do. I do think that America will let Japan take them back.
Nah, bro. They wouldn't. I don't think America would give a foreign country access to a Special Forces operative's knowledge.
Yo, pause.
Yeah. All right. So, any last takes on this guy?
No, not really. I mean, I find this story so fascinating.
So, since Nissan CEO fled and came to America, I'm gonna tell this man where he should have gone.
Well, he went to Lebanon.
Oh, he went to Lebanon? Okay, never mind. All right, so he went to Lebanon.
He still
But
should
if
have
he
gone.
came to America, he should have gone to Puerto Rico. So Puerto Rico is a U.S. Commonwealth, part of the U.S., but in some ways it's still independent. Its tax system is a hybrid, part U.S., part not. If you can really move yourself and or your businesses, you may be able to cut your income taxes to the bone. But you have to be careful. The interaction between the IRS and the taxman of Puerto Rico is nuanced, requiring some Puerto Ricans to file with the IRS, some with the Puerto Rico Department of Finance, and some with both. Still, Puerto Rico hopes to lure American mainlanders with an income tax of only 4%, legally avoiding the 37% federal rate for high income tax earners and the 13.3% California or other state rate. Sounds pretty good. What's more, there is no tax on dividends and capital gains in Puerto Rico, so you don't have to pay taxes on your capital gains there. However, some big cautions are in order. First, forget about easily avoiding U.S. taxation on the appreciation of your assets before you move. If you move with appreciated stocks, Bitcoin, or other property, and then sell, all the pre-move appreciation is still subject to U.S. tax. Only your post-move appreciation will be subject to special rules in Puerto Rico. In fact, to escape U.S. tax on all the pre-move appreciation, you generally must wait a full 10 years after you move. This is hardly a quick fix, so in order to avoid taxation on your previously accumulated wealth, you have to wait 10 years. This is
Damn.
hardly a quick fix. What about selling your U.S. real estate? That will always be a U.S. source income. That means it is fully taxed in the U.S. even if you move to Puerto Rico and wait 10 years before selling, so it's going to be subject to U.S. tax code. So I think like the big pointer here, like in the first part of this article, is if you're gonna move, you should do it young, because if you're like trying to take advantage of these like business taxes or personal wealth taxes, you're not gonna want to have a lot of wealth accumulation inside the U.S. because then you're gonna have to deal with the IRS post move.
Nah,
There
mate,
are other what?
you're not going about this right. What you do is you hire a good lawyer, create a bunch of shell companies, then create new investment into Puerto Rico once you're ready to move.
However, that's the problem with that though, is that you have, in order to like qualify for these tax leniencies, you actually have to be inside of Puerto Rico for 6 months out of the year. So you have to be there for
Oh, damn.
183 days out of the
Okay.
calendar year. So you
Good.
can't just move shell companies there and just not live there. It's like you have to be a
Okay.
resident and prove that you're a resident of Puerto Rico.
Damn.
All right, so there are other fundamentals about the rules too. First, as with any move, you have to actually move. Like I said, your tax home, your real home, must be in Puerto Rico. Remember, just like a move from one state to another, it has to be real. Trying to avoid messy facts that don't look like a permanent move. If possible, sell your home, move your family, sever connections with your old local clubs, and so on. After all, if you are later ruled not to be a Puerto Rico resident, the IRS is back in the picture asking for back taxes, penalties, and interest. To qualify, an individual must not have been a resident of Puerto Rico within the last 15 years. You must become a resident of Puerto Rico by December 31st, 2035, and must reside there for at least 130 or 83 days a year. You must also do the paperwork, filing an application with the tax authority there. Once that's approved, it's a binding contract, and you'll get, these are the benefits, tax-free and dividends earned after you become a resident. No long-term capital gains tax on appreciation after you become a resident. 5% tax on long-term capital gains for appreciation before you move for any sales during your first 10 years as a resident. So yeah, I mean, like, this is, like, for me, if you're trying to stay inside of the U.S. and avoid all forms of taxes, I feel like Puerto Rico is the move. It has low state taxes as well. Like, when you're thinking of trying to cut taxes to the extent possible, I think it's a really, really good opportunity. The only problem with it is if you already have businesses, you're looking at dealing with the IRS post-move as well. So what you want to do is, if you're young, move now before you start a business. I think this is a great incentive for startups. Like, I could see a lot of small businesses starting in Puerto Rico instead of in the mainland U.S. to avoid taxation from like corporate taxes and all the rest. What do you guys think? I think it's awesome. Like, I loved reading this article. It's on Forbes, by the way, and the title of it is "Move to Puerto Rico, slash your taxes to zero," and then it says "not exactly," but it still shows all the pros to moving.
Yeah, I
Any
mean,
thoughts?
I just personally like, yeah, it's a great idea, but it's like it seems like something that would benefit someone who's born rich a lot more than like someone who's trying to make it in mainland America.
See, I actually don't exactly agree, because I see it as like, if you're trying to preserve wealth and like, especially now in the modern economy, if you can work remotely for like a government or for a company even operating in the U.S., you can still, if you're a resident of Puerto Rico, you can still avoid income tax there. So even if you're working in the U.S. but remote working for Puerto Rico, they can't tax your income because you're not in the U.S. So it's like, what are the negatives to even like someone who's not wealthy already just trying to like accumulate more wealth in IRAs or like 401ks, like long-term retirement plans, or even in the stock market through like index funds. Like your wealth is going to stay much more preserved, and it's not going to be subject to a lot of the IRS regulated rules for deferred taxes either.
See,
It's
that's
just a
great.
way.
I hate the IRS, but I don't think I could sever all my connections and just up and move like that just to save some tax dollars.
I'm actually I'm gonna consider this because like with the move with any move, I feel like what you want to do is you want to at least try and avoid state taxes. Like I know Massachusetts is a terrible idea for me because New Hampshire has no state
Yeah, I don't know
taxes.
why you
The only state taxes
I don't know
really
why you
are the
became a
property.
master. I'm still a New Hampshire resident, bro. I don't think
It's
I'm
a
gonna
it's for
change that for
tax
a while.
purposes. It's a
Yeah.
smarter move to stay in New Hampshire, but I mean, I didn't want to be a resident and then have to like you can't get parking down here and I have a car. There's like a
Oh
bunch of
yeah,
shit you
that's
can't
fair.
do when you're not a resident. But overall, like I think like long term vision, if I'm looking to settle down somewhere, it has to be in a state with low income taxes.
Yeah.
And I want to avoid federal income taxes as well. So I think Puerto Rico, if you're looking for a tax haven and not to live in another country, you're looking at Puerto Rico. Because I looked up the U.S. Virgin Islands as well, because I was assuming that our offshore domestic territories were all used as tax havens. However, U.S. Virgin Islands have a mirror tax system where you still have to pay 37 point whatever percent, even in the high income. It's called in the high income brackets. It's called a tax mirror, where you don't pay it to the IRS, you pay it to the tax man in the Virgin Islands, but it's still a mirror of the U.S. tax system. So Puerto Rico is the actual place you'd want to move in this
Yeah.
case. I
I
did
know
some research.
Cayman Islands. Cayman Islands are a huge tax haven,
Big
but they're
tax
not
haven.
U.S. They're not U.S.
I,
property. It's
I
actually
do think
UK.
it's
UK
UK, but
soil.
are there not Cayman? I think the US does own some of the Cayman Islands. I want to say
No,
some of it is
that's
British,
just the
some of it.
Virgin.
Oh, it's
Cayman,
just
I
the
think, are
Virgin.
all British. Yeah.
I'd
We're
imagine
gonna
on
look.
this in the northeastern region, I think the lowest tax states are New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, and Delaware, right?
Yeah, the
Is
only
it
problem with that
Maine?
is
I
you
feel like
can't.
Maine is wicked
I
low
think
too.
I
Maine's
think the
probably
best.
low.
Yeah, you're right. It is all UK for the Cayman Islands. The
But
only
yeah, it's nowhere near like Puerto Rico and the
Puerto
Cayman
Rico, where
Islands.
the biggest advantage is the federal income tax avoidance. Like
Yeah.
you can avoid state taxes in a bunch of states, but you can't avoid Uncle Sam stealing your money. Any thoughts? Like, do you guys think this is like a cool idea or a place to live? Like, why are people moving to Texas when you can avoid taxes in Puerto Rico? You know what I mean? The only thing you
I mean,
forego is
I'm
voting.
sure there's other issues with living in Puerto Rico.
There is.
Yeah, I
Well, the
just feel
biggest
like
one
there's a
is
lot of
infrastructure.
yeah.
The two big ones for me are infrastructure and government representation. Since it's a territory, you don't have any senators or representatives on the national scale, so you don't have a say in what policies
What
are
goes
passed in the
on?
U.S. So I
Also,
mean,
yeah, the infrastructure is probably like the roads probably aren't that great. Education's probably not that great compared to mainland U.S.
Yeah.
yeah, I remember because Trump, like when Trump was in office, Puerto Rico got hit by like a terrible national disaster or natural disaster. It was
Hurricane, yeah.
Yeah.
Hurricane
And then,
Maria.
right, but the thing is, the reason that no one in the Republican Party, I should say, wanted to bail out Puerto Rico is because their tax system doesn't incentivize the U.S. to want to help them because we don't tax them. So why the fuck
There's
would
no
we
revenue coming from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why would they bail them out? Is
Yeah.
essentially like issues with the way they're taxed.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, I don't care. Natural disaster and everything, you'd still be saving so much money. You only have to stay there for 6 months too. That means you could still spend your other 6 months in U.S. territory or in like U.S. states. And I like it. I think it's like a very lucrative idea to up and move to the island.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool idea.
Yeah,
I know
I
some
think
kid-
it's a good idea in theory, but when I think of the execution, like I prefer my life here, you know.
It just seems like a lot of effort, yeah, just for saving taxes. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I know some kids who are Puerto Rican, so maybe we can have them on the show and they can kind of talk about like the benefits of living there and
Yeah,
what
Yeah,
the
what it's
cons.
really
totally
like.
cover that
Yeah.
with them.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, honestly, I've yet to see something so interesting in the tax code, at least in the U.S., like that is this much of a loophole as Puerto Rico
Oh,
is.
that's definitely the biggest loophole for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think anything comes close.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I like that topic. Like I'm really gonna
No,
take some
that's
serious
really cool.
consideration of that topic.
All
All
right,
right.
time for Reddit advice.
We're back to Reddit, everyone. So the title of this Reddit post is "I quit my good-paying job. Did I make the right decision?" In my country, there are two types of jobs: the government sector and the private sector. Jobs in the government sector are more financially secure, and you get a salary even after retirement, and they can never fire you. While the jobs in the private sector are not that stable, and I don't think you get a salary after retirement. That's the only difference. I was a physics teacher in the government sector. I was getting paid $2,231 a month. I was never happy. My colleagues are toxic, and most of them are 20 plus years older than me. I spent most of my working hours alone, not talking to anyone, and then I go home and repeat the same miserable cycles for 5 days a week. I got a job I got a job offer as a graphic designer and animator. That's my passion, and I'm very good at it in the private sector. It pays well, but I'm not really sure if it has a retirement salary. How did you not? First of all, let me just ask this question: how did you not ask before accepting the contract what if you had if you had a retirement salary or not? Like that's a huge factor. This is the problem with too many people in the world. We don't have enough financial literacy
No.
as a world community. It's not actually judged as a proficiency needed, and it should be. All
Hey,
right.
I mean,
The work environment is way cooler, and I also developed my animation skills faster. I already quit my teaching job, and I'll start a new job on Sunday. Did I make the right decision? I'm anxious and super worried. Avi, what were you gonna say?
I mean, like in college, you don't really have much leverage to negotiate. Like I took this job first offer. I wasn't like, yo, I need some benefits. I was like, fuck yeah, I'm gonna take this job and run with it. And in time, they said I'll have the option to renegotiate, which is that's all I was looking for. It's like, what I realized after my first internship is now, as we're like juniors and seniors in college, you have leverage to ask for like negotiating room. Like
Yeah,
don't undervalue yourself.
that's
And
very true
this
too.
guy who's been a physics teacher for years, it seems, has way more leverage than a college student, and like he definitely could have leveraged his position a little more than he did.
Yeah, that's for sure. I agree with you. I mean, like the retirement salary part, he should have asked about. But I mean, I I don't know if his passion was truly to become a graphic designer and animator. Like I think following your passions does matter to some degree. But I mean, I always liked Mike Rowe's point. He's the Dirty Jobs guys, and it was
Yeah.
like, follow your passion is probably the worst advice he ever heard. He's like, follow your dreams and go broke. It's a good point. Whereas like, if you're financially secure in the job you have, you do have to take at least financial considerations before you move. You should be using an Excel spreadsheet to like look at all your expenses, look at how much your pay is, how much you're putting towards retirement, and all those factors come into play, and like your net income after expenses and taxes, so you know which move is the correct one for the long term. Like it shouldn't be like a whimsical off the cuff move. It should be a very
Yeah.
it should be a very calculated decision. It's like determining what you're gonna do here on for your life.
Yeah, because I think also with the freedom that comes with financial security, right? You can earn yourself the free time or like the freedom to do what you enjoy. You know, like with a financially secure job, you can invest in the tools you need to create the things you enjoy.
Yeah, that's also true as well. He could have stayed as a physics professor and then kind of done animation and
Started
graphic design on
funding,
the
yeah,
side,
yeah,
and then seeing if it grew, maybe he could leave physics, start his own company,
yeah.
or get hired by someone and then have even more negotiating power.
And
So
again,
I
we're
don't
pretty cynical people. We're not really like the type that like
know.
would forego like boring degrees and good jobs for like to chase our dreams.
Yeah, that's all. That's now though. That's now. Who knows what's
Yeah,
coming
I
Yeah,
next?
was
that is
saying maybe
now.
you guys, but
What about
Yeah.
you, Alex? What's your take? Because
I
you
mean,
don't think the same way.
well, journalism is my passion, and that's not always the job known for making a shit ton of money, but I rather do that and work hard at it and just like like enjoy my job than do some like boring office job.
Yeah.
Although
From
you have the potential to make a lot of money in journalism, it just doesn't always happen for a while.
Yeah. I think
from my perspective, it's all financial security. It's really not about how enjoyable a job is, because the thing is, you can have the most passionate job, like you can have passion for your job in 20 years. You don't love it anymore. It's whether you can tolerate doing it at a high level still, and that's
yeah.
basically what you have to be able to like do. So you don't have to love it, but if you go into a job absolutely dreading going in every week, it's probably not going to work out. So that's where I
No.
have some empathy for this guy. If he
Yeah.
really hated being a physics
He had
professor
to get out of there.
and
Yeah.
is still early on in it, he's probably going to think 20 years down the line, he's going to be miserable as fuck.
And the
Yeah,
other
well, I
thing is,
mean,
if you're miserable being a teacher, like that's gonna affect your students too. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna sense that.
also, like, government jobs have great benefits. Like, government jobs are some of the best benefits for working. And, like,
Yeah.
I even, like,
It's
Be
I
great.
have,
poor the
like,
rest of your life.
bro, I haven't, no, you're not, though.
No,
That's the
because they
thing.
pay
You
for
make
your all
bank,
your like they pay
bro.
for your health insurance. They pay for your like
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
retirement
the
plan.
Here's
benefits
the
are
thing.
good.
I
The
have an uncle
benefits
who
are
retired
amazing.
at, he retired at,
Just
like,
be
age
poor while
50.
you're young, I should say.
Yeah,
No, but
exactly.
listen to me.
Exactly.
They're not. You don't hear my point. My point is, I have an uncle who worked in government who retired at age 55. Like he literally like and all the benefits like and like my I like my grandpa when he did work with the government. Like my grandma still got money from his job. Like after that, the thing is though, like I might do work now with the government as like experience, but it's just not something where I see myself as like it's not something that'll make me happy long term. So the benefits are there, like you said, financially, but I still rather do something I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
That's a wholesome. I actually see like that's a good take on it as well.
See,
That's
my
a
my view is more like it's like no job is something that's gonna last a super long time. It's how quickly can you build capital, then dump that money into the things you really enjoy and create something out of it. Right?
that's also a
So
good
it's
point.
like it's more about asset development than it is about having a job. Like I'm willing to sacrifice like 5 to 10 years not enjoying something if I'm gonna earn the income I need to enjoy the rest of my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, no one wants to be working till they're like 70.
Yeah. Oh,
Unless you love what you do. Unless you
I
love what
want
you
to
do.
be
I think some people
working
do.
for myself.
That's fair.
It's basically there's a big like school programs you to be a good employee, right? You're always gonna earn money for someone else. What books like Rich Dad Poor Dad and Too Big to Fail show you is working for someone else. Sure, there's great benefits and everything, but at the end of the day, there's a top dog that you're paying up to always for your whole life.
Always,
I don't.
always.
Life isn't meant to be lived that way. Life is meant to be you. Like how do you go from on the bottom making money for other people to the people around you are getting the money in for you, right? Like
Yeah.
so you can work like average jobs and shitty jobs or great jobs and like not enjoy it. But if you're building the right assets, it doesn't matter what job you have.
Yeah. That's also a very good point as well. I liked that one. I thought that was actually one of the best Reddit posts we've covered together.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
All right, I think we're gonna end it there. That was Straight No Chaser, episode 25. Remember to comment, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
We're gonna post links to Jasmine's channel and to her link tree as well, where you can find all her music. We thank her for coming on as well. That was a great episode. Really enjoyed that interview. So thanks everyone. Guys, it was a pleasure as always. Have a nice night.
Yeah, man.